Hey ladies, it's Dr. A checking in with you today. How you doing? I thought maybe we could have a little bit of a chat about navigating change and loss during midlife and menopause. And these are the years, of course, that I call Regency from age 45 to 70 plus, depending on how we're feeling when we get to that age, right? So, menopause these days may be having a moment, and of course it is. Oprah just did her big special on it and all the celebrities are coming out talking about it. But you know what? No one prepares us for midlife. What little we learn in high school about life stages, that sort of aspect of body functions, right, from adolescence, it's maybe a little titillating, but not very informative, right? And even if we take introductory psychology, like a course in college or something, there's little, if any, discussion of the stages of life that a human being lives through as we age. We really don't talk about that very much. Well, midlife is the psychological transition that's woven together, right, in the experience of a human life. Just as the menopause tradition is woven into the DNA of our physical body, the midlife transition is woven into our psyches or our psychological experience of life and aging. And as women, we can't escape either of them. If you live long enough, you're going to have to contend with both of them. Midlife can begin as early as the mid 30s or as late as the mid 50s. There's so much change happening at this time of our lives. The changes in midlife can actually leave us feeling alone, and as if we're the only women who are going through it, or the only women that are having these feelings of feeling lost in the middle of a life that we thought was going pretty well. But let me assure you, you're not alone. Midlife opens a Pandora's box of questions. You may find yourself happily living one day, and the next day you're feeling as if your life is no longer fulfilling. It kind of feels like a too tight shoe. Midlife is the time when we face our mortality for the first time. The fact that we may have more years behind us than in front of us, that we don't have endless do-overs anymore in our lives. And because of that, we can begin to reassess our choices, right? The things we did, the things we didn't do, and we can begin to question everything. During midlife, our values can begin to shift. Friendships that have lasted for decades may start to fray at the edges or drift apart. Relationships with loved ones, partners, family members can all begin to show the strain or tension of two people growing in opposite directions. For women who've honored their career identity as an important part of themselves, right? If you hit a glass ceiling or you realize you can't go any further in your career, you hit burnout, or you decide to retire, well, who are you then, right? If you're not the CEO, the manager, the brave entrepreneur, the business owner, right? That aspect of your identity can disappear. And often with that change in that aspect of our identity, right? There's also a loss of the relationships that we had developed in the workplace as well. Now, there are parallels to this experience for women who are having empty nest crisis, right? After spending 20 to 30 years raising children, running a household, when children leave and the household is empty, that is another career loss. It's not only the hours of each day that we spend at work, right? Or in our careers or raising our children that remain empty, but it's the meaning, purpose, and belonging behind the work that we did for all those years that's now shifting or missing in our core. All right, these scenarios where relationships, careers, family matters, and children are all changing simultaneously, right? They're a space of loss and personal growth. They're both and. When we lose identities, the space they leave behind is not empty. It's actually full of possibility. What do I mean? Well, the empty space may feel like a void in your heart, but it's actually seeded with the dreams and desires that you've had throughout your life. This is an opportunity for women to see which of those seeds will now sprout, take hold, and flourish even. You, as a regent woman, are at the height of your life experience, your career experience, and your personal wisdom. And you have another 20 to 30 years to become your most authentic and fulfilled self. The changes of menopause and midlife combined encourage us to find our authentic voices, to speak out and advocate for what's important to us now. If you feel alone in this growth process, I want you to know that in just a few years, there'll be over 87 million US women over 45, right? You're not alone. We can and must support each other. It's a transformational process, this midlife change, this midlife shift, this regency, 25 years of transformation. And first, we have to transform ourselves into our most authentic and powerful selves, and then apply a renewed sense of purpose, understanding, and capability to contribute to the greater good. Our legacy is the embodiment of the return of the sacred archetypal feminine, that these energies, we are meant to manifest these to rebalance the patriarchal structures of this world and our relationships between each other and the planet. The rise of regency, the return of the reverence of the powers of the female soul and the archetypal feminine within men and women is fundamental to achieving the paradigm shift that the world needs to create sustainable futures. The qualities of the archetypal feminine or the conscious feminine are love, love in action, compassion for ourselves, for others, for all living beings and the planet and her ecosystems, and empathy, and the right action that empathy causes towards those who are suffering. Intuition, the development of our inner feminine and our womanly ways of knowing and being. The instinct, the trusting of our bodily ways of knowing. Creativity and all that it entails, from the delivery room to the boardroom to the schoolroom to the arts and much, much more. Feeling, relationship, emotional intelligence, and nurturance are also attributes of the divine or archetypal feminine. When we take the mythic view looking at our lives, right, at the top down, this is our story, right? And we take the top down view looking at our stories, right? We can see that we're in the midst of all of these chapters. We can see that the falling away of all that we lose or all that changes at midlife clears the road for who we are to become. Grieve your losses. Allow yourself to feel the feelings and process this complex liminal space through which you're traveling. You're having a very personal experience of a universal rite of passage, which is aging through midlife. And it's helping you become, or it will help you if you work with it, to become your most authentic, powerful, and transformative self. Through all your journeys, inward and in the world, remember this: nothing is born until it passes through darkness. The seed in the ground is cracked open and utterly devoured by the life emerging from it. The caterpillar, overtaken by forces beyond its control, encased in a cocoon, is completely devoured by the process of transformation. For the chick that emerges from the egg and all life, including humanity, nothing is born, no new life begins unless it first passes through the darkness. May your time of change in midlife and menopause be your rebirth into your next chapter. This is Dr. A saying, I hope you have a great day. Reach out to me, take a look at my programming. If you're interested in my one-to-one coaching, you can go to my website and find out about it. I hope you're having a great day. Namaste. I see and honor the wild woman in you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.